The x-intercepts of the graph of some equation, you need to start by having the equation in the calculator. So press y equals to get the equation editor open, and we're going to graph y is equal to 4 minus 2x minus x squared. So you type in that equation, and you'll notice on the screen that plot 1 up here at the top is highlighted. That indicates that stat plot 1 is turned on. And if that's the case, sometimes you'll get an error message when you go to graph your equation. So if you don't need a scatter plot, you can use your arrow keys to go highlight the one that's turned on, press enter, and that's going to turn that this was a scatter plot. It's going to turn that off for me. You can of course go into second y equals to get to the stat plot menu and select whichever scatter plot you see that says it's on and turn it off. Alright, so if we're going to graph 4 minus 2x minus x squared in a standard viewing window, that would be zoom, and then option 6 there is standard, so I'm going to simply type in a 6. That's going to set my viewing window to be -10 here to +10 along the x-axis, and show us -10 down here at the bottom to +10 on the y-axis. Now what we're interested in this case is where this graph crosses the x-axis. In other words, what are the x-intercepts? Now it really looks to me like we've got an x-intercept at -3 and one at +1. You cannot just accept the way things look, so let's check that out. I'm going to go to the calculate menu, which is second trace, and I want to know what is the value of this equation, what is the value of this function when x is -3. Now if I've actually got a point on the x-axis, the y-coordinate of that point should be 0. Okay, and I don't have that. The y value when x is -3 is +1, so -3 is not my x-intercept there. If I wanted to check out +1, calculate, option 1 is a value when x is 1. Okay, another place where it looks like the graph crosses the x-axis at 1, but that's not actually the case. So we need the calculator to do some work for us and actually calculate those x-intercepts or zeros. Go to second trace to get the calculate menu, and it's a 0 that we need. Okay, so come down and enter on option 2, or you can simply type a 2. Now your calculator has to have some input. Basically you're going to have to give it a little section of the curve to look at. If I'm going to work on finding this x-intercept over here that's on the negative part of the x-axis, I need to use the left arrow keys and move this cursor on this curve so it's just to the left of where the x-intercept is. Okay, right about in there will be fine. You want to stay kind of close, but on the left side of that x-intercept. Then you use your right arrow key to move over to the right side of the x-intercept or the x-axis. The x-intercept would be correct. And then calculator is going to ask you for a guess. You can simply press enter again. And so that x-intercept is -3.24 if we were going to round that off to 2 decimal places to write it down. So we're going to go through the same steps to find this x-intercept. Press clear to get that out of the way. Second trace. We want a 0. A 0 and an x-intercept are the same thing. We're looking for this x-intercept over here on the right, so I'm going to use my right arrow key and position the cursor so that it's just to the left of that x-intercept. Alright, right in there is fine. You'll notice that if you brought your pointer straight down from that point, you would be just to the left of where the graph crosses the x-axis, so that's what we're looking for. Now arrow over so your cursor is just to the right of the x-intercept, and enter on guess. So the second x-intercept would be about 1.24 if you were writing it down.